Okay, so if you open up After Effects, this is how the program first looks. You just go New Project, and then it just kicks into this. You can go File. I like to make sure I'm saving my new project where I want to, so I'm going to go Save As. For my desktop, I have FHCI tutorials down here, so I'll just tuck that in there and say icon demo. So you're here fresh. It's a blank slate. The first thing you want to do is you want to go here to New Composition. And just make it like 1920 by 1080. That's HD size. That's, really, you don't want to be going 4K. Like your computers aren't going to be able to handle it. 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second are all fine. It defaults to 30 frames per second. I can talk about frames per second. That's a whole other conversation. So we'll just stick here to what it defaults with. And there's my composition, right? So down in here is kind of where you stock your layers or whatnot. Like, so if you had your Photoshop file or Illustrator file, it would open up here, and then the instructions on the previous tutorial show you how you can create a composition, and then all of a sudden, all your layers open up down here. But you're starting blank, right? You're starting in After Effects. So you make your new composition like I showed you. I'm going to go here on your right click, and I'm going to go New, and I'm going to make a shape layer. So you want to start with a shape layer. So you got the shape layer up here. And then in After Effects, you have all these shapes up here. Runs very similar to Illustrator, actually. So go to my star tool, hit the down arrow, hit the up arrow, right? Up arrow adds points, down arrow, exactly like Illustrator, right? So I made a star there. I have no fill. If I want to fill it in, I can pick a color to fill that star in with, right? I could also pick no stroke. If I cancel that, no stroke. I didn't want a stroke on it. So all the functionality is exactly the same as Illustrator, right? So the interesting thing with this program, like, is the add button down here, right? Like, I think I was showing that the other day. Yeah, with the drawing the line on a map, right? So you go add, right? And you can explore all these things in here, and you'll be animating in no time. So pucker and blow, it's a really cool thing to kind of show you. You do that, it adds it right down in here. So all of your things that you're going to be adding, you just open up that, contents, and then here is the pucker and blow that you've added. And you can add all these. You can add twist, and then twist will pop in there, right? And then you basically just open up these things, and then here's the stopwatch icon, keyframe icon. Click that, move that over. You pucker that up, and then you've animated that. Like, it's pretty crazy how fast you can get animating in the program if you just know where to go. And then you could plucker. I can't talk this one. Lessen the pucker. There you go, right? So you get it. So you go from there into that. And then you could actually, if you're creating an animation loop, right, which is kind of like project 2, option project 2, you could just do 4 of these things like this. And you just go, like that. Then you could select all of these. So I just marquee selected them. You just copy, Control or Command C, move the thing over, Command V, and paste those in place. So you just kind of like get one thing and you can just paste it. Get like a kind of animation loop going, paste it, and then you're doing that. Yeah, so then you created that. Right, so you can make a little icon, do kind of like move like that if you want to. The pucker is kind of like a quick way to show you what's going on. And then you've added a twist down here. So boom. Check out center if you want. And then there we go, we're twisting that. Where's the center? What does the center do? I don't even know. The center goes like that. Right, so right? So all sorts of things that you can do with just this add button with a simple shape or icon. You can be moving around and doing lots of things, right? There's a repeater thing that's kind of cool. You can repeat that if you want to. Copies, and you can like repeat things and make things disappear. All sorts of things, right? So turn that off. And I'm going to make a text layer here. Click that over. And you can see the text pops in there. And Okay, this is working. What the heck? Okay, I can't see the text right away. It might be in black. So what I'm going to do also here is right-click. I can make a new solid. And there's lots of tips and tricks I can show you with solids, but I'm going to make a solid color that I want here. Drag that lower, drag that below all these. I have no idea where that text or type is. So I'm going to turn that off. Let's make that a little bigger. There, it's too big, that's why. Okay, cool. So if I highlight that, here's my kind of like text features over here in the character window. Make that smaller. And let's go snow day. Right. Move that wherever I want. I can then change and scale that around if I needed to. Or let's go here to my font area. You can change the font style up here if you want, but you know, this one's okay for now, so let's leave it at that. And that's where you change all your font settings. I'm gonna delete this snow day, and there's my actual snow day. Go down here, open that up, text. You see that has an animate right here. So essentially, animate and add do the same things. I don't know why they call them different things. It's kind of irritating. But anyway, so they do the exact same thing. It's animate on your text, it's add on your shape layer. So click here, and then you can see that you can skew, scale, position. You can try all these things. So let's see what skew does. Adds a skew thing here. Click on that, move that over, and then you're kind of like skewing things, and you can kind of make this rocky thing back and forth if you need to. You can make it look like it's rocking. This isn't a super slick kind of like technique, but it's just going through what you can do, and then you can take it where you need to, right? Copy, Command C, Control C, Control V, and then you've created this kind of like looping kind of thing, right? So yeah, so if you're creating text natively inside of After Effects, you've got the animate button. If you create a shape layer and add a shape to it, you've got the add button. These are all native things within After Effects, right? That you can do. So let's turn this on. Okay, that's like, I don't even like that color, but so if I don't want repeater, I'm gonna delete repeater, and then hit play. And then you can create all sorts of fun kind of experimental things right within the program. So say if you're done this, I'm going to wrap this up. That was like my tips and tricks for you in After Effects just to get you rolling with kind of doing some cool icon stuff. You can find tons of things like reveals and that in online on YouTube. You like icon reveals or icon motion graphics. You're going to see so much information, but the basics are right there for you. Then when you're done, what you're going to want to do is export it as a video. So right here, this area is this thing here. This gray area is your workspace, right? So so if you have the composition set to this 30 seconds length, but you've only like animated 5 seconds, there's no sense in like exporting all 30 seconds. So I would just open up and see where my keyframes last, and I would pop the workspace at the end here, and then it's going to export the video to this point right there. You don't want all this extra, and it's useless, right? Then you would just go File, Export, right? And then my advice would be to add to Media Encoder. I'm not going to go through all that step, but like you add it to Media Encoder, you select like your file format and whatnot, hit Export, and then it's an MP4 file that you can throw on YouTube or Instagram or hand into Google Drive. And I can talk about Media Encoder and settings in another thing. But once you're done, your After Effects thing, know that you have to export it as a video.